And I wanted to talk on this Shabbat about just a word about the parsha that we actually read on this Shabbat, which is Parshat Pinchas. And without going into any details, Pinchas is about zealotry. It's about caring passionately about something. And Pinchas is rewarded for an act of zealotry that involves violence. And it reminds us how complicated our world is. That sometimes we applaud the heroism that is violent, like somebody self-sacrificing themselves, or a soldier, or going to war when it's necessary, or devoting your entire life to a cause. And other times we think that you should just be moderate and careful. And an illustration of this is the wonderful story of Isaac Stern, the violinist who once, when he came off from playing, a woman came up to him and said, "I would do anything to play like you would." And he said, "Really, would you give 11 hours a day for 12 years of your life? Because that's what I did." And you realize that zealotry is a complicated concept. And when people say that they're moderates in some things, but everyone can be passionate about certain things. And when people say they're passionate, other passions bother them. I bring all this up because paradoxically, even though this is a time when we're staying home and we're interacting virtually, it's also a time of tremendous passions, political passions, social passions, even interpersonal passions, although those generally have to be moderated and mediated by technology. And it reminds us that really the wisdom about passion is the wisdom about Kohelet. And the wisdom about zealotry too is the wisdom of Kohelet. If you don't know what Kohelet is, it's Ecclesiastes, and there is a famous third chapter in the book of Kohelet that says there's a time for everything under the sun. A time to be born and a time to die, a time to laugh, a time to weep, a time to cast stones, and a time to gather stones together. No single principle is sufficient to live a good life. You can't tell people to always be passionate because sometimes you have to be measured and thoughtful. You can't tell people only to be measured and thoughtful because sometimes you have to be passionate. And you can't tell people exactly when, because to know when is the summit of wisdom, and wisdom is something that we acquire all through our lives. So as we seek balance, let's understand when someone else is passionate about something and it upsets us, it's not because we hate passion. When someone else isn't passionate, it's not because we don't care for reason and moderation. It's because there are no perfect formulas to live a life, as there are no perfect lives. And so as these circumstances get thrown at us every single day that we never thought we would meet, remember that we're all learning and growing together, sometimes feeling this way, sometimes feeling that. Sometimes feeling alone, sometimes grateful that we have distance. And all of it is part of the paradoxical necessity of feeling everything in order to grow. So on this Shabbat, I wish you lots of different kinds of feelings: passion and calm, laughter and weeping, distance and closeness, Shabbat of peace, and I hope in the end, a life of faith and love. Shabbat Shalom.